Hi, I'm Tammy.
I'm Lacey.
We're the Nutrition Twins. We're registered dietitians and personal trainers.
We're so excited to be here today. We are sharing with you 4 easy ways to get beach body ready and stay that way. And the tips that we're giving you today are going to change your life, and we're so excited about it. Today, we're going to share something you need to include at every single meal for long-lasting weight loss, even if you think you should be avoiding it. And we're going to show you how and why including this actually is the secret to long-lasting weight loss. Then we're also going to share a nutrient that's very overlooked nowadays with the plant-based movement, which we love. But when you include this nutrient, which we're going to help you to do, it will be something that is the secret to your fat-burning machine.
And next up, we will be sharing something that will whittle your waistline, but it also tastes delicious and it lowers your blood sugar. And did I mention that it tastes delicious?
Amen to
Hey! And then, woohoo! And then lastly, we're going to cover something that a lot of our new clients come to us and they're making one big fat mistake. And the pun is intended there, so we will share that.
The pun is intended.
It is.
So we're so excited to share these with you because our clients tell us that these, if they had known these 4 things, their whole weight loss journey before they met us would have been so much easier. So number 1, and you can start doing all of these things immediately, which is one of the very cool things. So number 1, the very first thing that you can start doing to get beach body ready is include 1/2 cup of wholesome carbohydrates at every meal. And if you're celebrating,
She said it.
if you're celebrating, you heard it from registered dietitians here, you can include it. If you're panicking and saying, Nutrition Twins, whoa, hold it up. I gain weight just looking at carbohydrates, then don't worry. You've actually been eating them all wrong. But don't worry, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. No one taught you how to eat them right. So we're going to show you how to eat the carbohydrates right. And if you've been on the keto diet or something like that, and that's the only way you lost weight, then you probably realize that if you did add some carbohydrates back in, you probably gained some weight back. And that's because it's not sustainable.
So we know some of you are probably thinking a half cup of carbohydrates, it doesn't sound like much, but keep in mind, you're going to be having it with protein, healthy fat, loads of the tasty vegetables. So keeping the carbohydrates at a somewhat smaller portion is going to keep you feeling light and satisfied, but at the same time, satisfied enough so that you're not going to be craving anything else, or it won't give you any sugar cravings, because the carbohydrates are giving you enough energy to fuel your brain. So when you're getting brain fuel, then your brain isn't saying, I'm exhausted, give me the quickest pick-me-up you can find. And what is that quick pick-me-up? Sugar. So you're not going to be getting those sugar cravings this way. So it's much, much better to have that half cup portion of carbohydrates.
Exactly. So what is the secret here? How are you eating this 1/2 cup of wholesome carbohydrate at every meal? How is it definitely helping you to get long-lasting weight loss? Here are the 3 keys to doing it and making it so easy in your life. Number 1, that 1/2 cup portion. Portion is the king. Here's the thing. If you gain weight eating carbohydrates in the past, you didn't have a 1/2 cup at every meal. At every single meal.
Every meal, yes.
And here's the thing about it. When you have that carbohydrate at every meal, it's just enough to give you the nutrients you need to make you realize, like, I've got enough carbohydrate. I'm not going to crave simple sugar. I don't need more energy. And at the same time, you're going to feel light. And it's not so much, 1/2 cup is like this, by the way, is not so much that most people do overeat that they feel very heavy afterwards. So number 1, that portion. Whoa, whoops. That portion is extremely important. So that 1/2 cup portion. The other thing to keep in mind is so number 2, when you're eating these carbs every single meal, you're going to keep that 1/2 cup portion to make it your flat belly, beach body secret. You're going to also make sure that it is the wholesome carbohydrate, not the refined, doughy, processed white flour things. Those just spike your blood sugar, cause you to have a spike of insulin, and then
more sugar cravings.
Exactly. And instead, it also causes inflammation, and that causes you to add weight as well. And unlike the wholesome carbohydrates. So we're talking about
oats, sweet potatoes, fruits, any of the whole grains, Any of
Brown
those
rice.
brown rice or whole wheat
Quinoa.
bread, all of these are good ways to get that wholesome carbohydrate. And remember, the half cup with every meal is the secret to keep the weight off and to keep sweet cravings away and to keep you feeling satisfied.
So you're making sure it's the half cup of wholesome carbohydrate. You're making sure it's the wholesome carbohydrate, not the doughy, refined carbohydrates like the sugary or the white flour.
No.
And then when you include this at every single meal, the other thing that is super important is what you're putting on top. So many people, they end up having a baked potato, which, by the way, is a wholesome carbohydrate with the fiber. And we're not talking potato chips. We're not talking French fries.
No.
We're talking the wholesome whole potato. 3 ounces is equivalent to the half cup. That's 100 calories.
It's about the size of a
One of the most satisfying foods that you
Small
can
fist.
have. Sweet potatoes, amazing. But the baked potato works as well. And you're not going to be thinking the rest of the day, when can I have a carbohydrate again? You know it's coming at the next meal, and you're not going to feel deprived. But you got to make sure you don't load on the fatty sauces, the oils, the butter. That's the third secret to keeping that half cup of wholesome carbohydrate at every single meal, and why it's going to fuel your long-lasting beach body.
Okay, so reviewing. The first thing you're going to do when you wake up tomorrow, even right now, you can do this
Even
right
if you
now.
haven't
You
eaten
can have
dinner.
Half cup to get beach body ready. 1/2 cup of wholesome carbohydrate at every meal. Not the doughy kind, nothing with fatty sauces or anything like that, but that is number one.
Number one. So that's the very first thing you're doing. Number two, you've got to bump up the protein. And what we've seen in this plant-based craze, which, by the way, we love.
We're all for. The more plant-based, the better. The more veggies, the more plants. Woohoo!
The better. That's how we live our lives, and that's how we think everyone should. It's so good for you. But the problem that we're seeing is that protein is kind of getting pushed aside, and protein keeps you satisfied. It provides long-lasting energy. So what ends up happening is when you bump, when you're eating a lot more of the plant-based, a lot of people wind up eating excess carbs and excess fat, and that causes weight gain. So you really want to be careful here, because if you can get enough protein, then you're going to stay satisfied and you'll keep the carbs and fat in check.
Okay, so you want to aim for 20 grams of protein at each meal. Like Lisa said, we're all about the plants and the plant protein, but
So
it's
think
hard to
about
get
this.
enough.
Sorry to cut you off. Well, actually, I'm really not.
She doesn't let me talk much. I have to really fight for my words here.
I have to be honest, I'm really not. I had to say something very important. Oh my gosh, now you made me forget it. Okay, what it was that when you have protein like that, you really want to, we hear these smoothie bowls, right? And smoothie bowls are delicious and so healthy. And same with avocado toast. But where's the protein? Yikes. So if you have these high calorie foods, you might end up very soon feeling hungry afterwards and overeating.
And we can tell you, our clients, sometimes they're craving snacks in the mid-afternoon, and typically when we look at their lunches, we find that there's not enough protein there. So whenever they're able to bump that protein up to 20 grams of protein per meal, that's the key. That keeps the snacks at bay, or even if they are hungry for a snack, which is perfectly fine, they're not overly hungry. It keeps them satisfied and not reaching for, a sugary pick-me-up soon after.
So 20 grams is a magical number. So you want to hit that. And so if you're, if you eat chicken and fish, just 3 ounces of either of those is going to give you about 24 grams. It's easy peasy, right? But let's say you're vegetarian, then you go for Greek yogurt, not plain yogurt, because that's not as high in protein, but Greek yogurt, your standard cup is going to give you, standard serving is going to give you about 17 grams. You're almost there, and then you can just add a little bit more, and we'll tell you how to do that. And then you've got eggs, and you've got
beans work.
Well, that's also great if you're vegan. You can go for the beans, the tofu,
nuts,
the
the
lentils.
seeds.
Those are a great way. And if you're feeling like your 20 grams of protein that you need per meal, if you're feeling like you still can't reach it with all of those, there's a very cool thing that you can use. It's called nutritional yeast. Not to be confused with brewer's yeast.
No.
It's nutritional yeast. And vegetarians is their little golden secret, because it is a cheesy flavor, but it's low in calories and a good way to get protein. So you can sprinkle
There's
some
also a lot
that.
of nutrients in there too.
Yeah, you can sprinkle some of that on your meal. You can also, nowadays there's so many protein powders. So you've got the pea protein powder, you have whey protein powder, and you can add some of that to your meal if you find you're short. But remember, the protein, if you're not getting it, it's gonna you're not going to feel satisfied and you'll end up overeating later. So that's a really important thing you want to pay attention to.
Okay, so to review, to be Beachbody ready, starting tomorrow, we're all...
Or later today. Why hold back?
Why hold back? If you haven't finished your meals yet today, you're going to start with 1/2 cup of carbohydrates, wholesome carbohydrates at every meal. Nothing doughy, nothing refined, nothing with saucy or fatty condiments, nothing. But then, number 2.
1/2 cup. That's the secret.
Right,
Remember,
the
not
cup.
more.
1/2 cup.
Not more.
1/2 cup. Number 2, the secret is to have 20 grams of protein at every meal for satisfaction so you don't overeat at your snack time. Okay, that's
Might
number
not
2.
even need snack time, right?
You might
Who
not.
needs a snack time if you feel satisfied?
Right. Well, sometimes.
In fact, I've got to tell you something. Remember when so if you're one of those people that order like a salad, from one of the places like Chopped, and they give you, and you order your protein, they give you a tongue full maybe of chicken if you get chicken.
Yeah, it's really not enough.
A little scoop of beans. That's what we used to do when we used to work at the same office, York Health and Racket Club. And we would take our lunch out. And I remember every day when I'd come home, so we'd get those salads, right? And it's just like healthy.
They would toss the chicken on or the...
Yeah, and I felt fine when I finished. I mean, there was plenty of food in there to feel fine when I finished. But when we got home from work, it was like...
Starving.
Mayhem.
Starving.
And we had this obsession with tofu popsicles.
Oh, yeah. Oh, those tofu popsicles? I don't think they make them anymore.
I don't know if they do. I hid them from like my existence because they were addictively so good. But we would
We're the only ones who think that, by the way.
It wasn't a problem finding them at the store. Not really. But we love them. And we got tricked into eating them, and they turned out to be so good, and we're like obsessed for the rest of our lives. No, not anymore. We don't even know if they exist, right?
Right.
We were for a while. We tend to try to get rid of some of the unhealthy obsessions. So we'd come home, and they were sweet and delicious. And we just
That's all we wanted.
It's all we wanted. We dive right in. But then what happened was we switched our lunch around. So we started making our own salad. We're like, oh. And we actually included the amount of protein that we actually needed. So we didn't even realize before we weren't getting enough protein. And there we just, assumed that they gave us a decent amount in their tongues. But I remember coming home the first day I had my lunch, and I don't know if you remember this. You probably don't. Your memory's horrible.
It's not true.
It's totally true. But I came home.
I don't know if I remember that.
The first day. You don't. I mean, she doesn't. So I came home the first day, and I was like ready for my out of habit, and also craving it, my tofu pops. And I came home and I was like, this is so weird. I don't even know what to do here. I'm not craving them, but I love them. What should I do? And I realized, and this is when we kind of beat the habit, I didn't really need those tofu pops. I didn't even crave them because I was satisfied from getting enough of the protein in my salad.
20 grams at each meal.
So that's your goal, 20 grams. Okay, so review.
Okay, so to be Beachbody ready tomorrow, you're going to have a 1/2 cup of carbohydrates, wholesome carbohydrates, not doughy, not refined, not with buttery sauces.
Not more, 1/2 cup.
Every meal. So
and that way, you're not thinking about, oh my God, am I going to ever eat a carbohydrate again? Yes, you are. Your next meal.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, number 2, remember, 20 grams of protein at each meal for satisfaction, and so that you don't go for the snacks and overeat the snacks in a couple hours later.
Those are 2 things you're going to start at the next meal.
Yes.
All right? Now, number 3, and you can start this at the next meal too, but anytime you want to sweeten a food, add cinnamon. Cinnamon is sweet and magical.
It is.
So, cinnamon, all right? It's calorie-free, it's a spice, it's anti-inflammatory, and it gives you health benefits. And so not only is it saving you hundreds of calories when you would normally get another sweet food, there's a very cool thing that will happen long-term for your long-term Beachbody. Not only short-term, but long-term. And we are talking, it changes your taste buds, all right? So it makes your taste buds actually start to like and crave naturally sweet foods. So if you used to crave that Jolly Rancher, or you used to crave that jelly donut, now it's going to be a juicy apple. Amen to that. And as sweet tooth lovers, that has happened to us. And we're going to give you a little more of the secret sauce with that cinnamon. So you want to share?
Right. Well, what happens is cinnamon actually tricks your taste buds. So what happens is you kind of don't need such sweet things anymore, as Lacey was saying. So what we have our clients do quite frequently when they have a sweet tooth is we have them replace.
We're these girls ourselves, and we still have a sweet tooth.
Absolutely,
but less sweets satisfy it
than we used to. Exactly. So what you would do anytime that you use an artificial sweetener or a real sweetener, you use cinnamon instead, wherever it's possible. So in your coffee, in your oatmeal, on your sweet potatoes, on your fruit. One of the things we have a lot of our clients do is we have them take fruit, we cut it up, they cut it up into small little pieces with a little water on the plate, they pop in the microwave and sprinkle with cinnamon.
We have a recipe on our website. It's well, it's really mine. It's mine, not even ours. I was the one that discovered it. You can thank me later.
I doubt that.
Again, no, it's an apple pie reinvented. It's so good. But Tammy, before we move on, do you remember how we discovered cinnamon was so good? Remember, we have a major sweet tooth. I bet you she won't remember, just like she didn't remember the last thing I just asked her to remember.
Oh no, maybe I'll remember a little bit. I don't know what.
Okay, so I knew you wouldn't remember. What a letdown every time. She lets me know.
Right,
never remember.
Go ahead, start. Let me see if I get it. Go ahead.
Okay, so remember. It was in college. We've always had a sweet tooth.
Does it have to do with pumpkin pie?
No, but that's not a bad guess.
Okay, go on.
It's a solid guess. Solid.
Okay, go on.
So we used to have like these standard meals in college that were super fast, and one of them. Don't ask us why. We were just piecing together.
Pumpkin meal?
No. That was like a half solid guess.
Okay. Oh yeah, that was not me.
Okay, so one of them was we
cumin.
just were piecing together healthy ingredients that were fast. We'd do a sweet potato in the microwave
I said sweet
and
potato.
chill it. No, you didn't. You said pumpkin. Both times you said pumpkin. I thought you were going to get it.
I meant sweet potato, pumpkin pie.
Oh, okay. She meant it.
I think I meant
She says
it.
she meant it. Questionable. Anyway, so what we would do was when we had first learned about the sweetness, that natural sweetness that cinnamon brings out of foods, we started sprinkling it on our sweet potato. And it came to a point, because we're such sweet tooth girls, that we would sprinkle every single bite with a ton of cinnamon. And before we knew it, like the flavor of a sweet potato was something we craved more than some of the desserts that we had. And our desserts were, not naturally sweet like that. It was the coolest thing ever. So cinnamon is going to be your go-to sweetener. And the thing is about that, your taste buds truly do adjust.
And I have to tell you, one of our clients, this recently just happened to, she coined herself as like the sweet tooth girl. She's like, I could have Lucky Charms for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, except for lunch and dinner, I want gummy bears, she said. So she always just cracked us up. But she recently listened to us and tried this cinnamon thing, and she was very hesitant at first, but she started off by putting the cinnamon in her coffee in the morning. She tried oatmeal instead of her Lucky Charms with the cinnamon at breakfast, and she followed along through the day and tried it for the desserts, and in the first month she dropped 5 pounds. So she was really
in the first month just from cinnamon alone. So here we go. So now, was there anything else you wanted to say about my magical cinnamon? Just to confirm, when I was talking about that comfort food apple pie on my website, it was truly me.
Our website. I mean, come on.
Our website.
The Nutrition
We'll
Trends.
call it
She's
that
like,
for now.
She's trying to.
We'll call it that for
Nutrition
now.
Trends.
So
Okay.
you've got. Let's go over so far. Let's
Review.
Immediately. The three
Start
or the
this
four
either
things.
tonight or tomorrow. The 3 or 4 things, we're going to go over the 4th next, that you can do to immediately get that beach body going and ready.
and stay that way.
Okay,
Fire
number
away.
1, you're going to have 1/2 cup and no more, 1/2 cup of wholesome carbohydrates, not refined, not doughy, nothing with added fatty sauces or salty.
Half cup is
at
the key.
each meal.
One every single meal. You can't
Every
leave it
single
out.
meal.
It has to be a half cup.
Yes.
And remember, you're not going to feel hungry on that, because you're also going to be getting tons of delicious vegetables, protein, that 20 grams, and also healthy fat.
Okay, number 2, you're going to have 20 grams of protein at every meal. No skimping. It's got to be that so you don't get too hungry.
And if
for
you're
snacks.
just joining us or just checking in, make sure you rewind to find out, or rewind, like they go on VHS days or whatever you call it. But you make sure you go back to see how and why that you do this right, because a lot of people think they can't have carbs, they think that they can't touch them, and the truth is, this is the secret, but you must have that amount at every meal.
Yes, and just for an egg, 6 to 7 grams of protein depending on the size. A chicken breast, small, 3 ounce can be up to 21, 24 grams of protein depending on how big it is. So just some tips there. And then, okay, so on to number 3.
Oh,
3, right.
You got to review number
Sorry,
3.
I gotta
Start these tips immediately if you want to see results immediately, and who doesn't?
Exactly.
You
Number-
probably don't. Just kidding.
You're mean.
We all went to. I'm not mean.
Okay, just today. Okay, so number 3. Okay,
Because we haven't got to see each other for
I
a
know,
while.
we really haven't seen each other. It's been hard.
It's not been so hard. Okay, so I'm mean sometimes. I can't resist. She sets herself up for it.
3,
You do.
cinnamon.
They really love it.
Instead of sugar, instead of alternative sweeteners,
Artificial sweetener.
cinnamon on top of everything. Coffee, oatmeal, on your fruit instead of the fruits, desserts, fruit with the cinnamon in the microwave for a couple minutes with the water.
It'll naturally change your taste buds so that you will not only save calories, reduce inflammation, which holds weight, it is also going to make it so that you actually start craving those juicy apples over that jelly donut. I mean,
It's amazing. It's amazing.
If you missed that part, go ahead and rewind or
Play back. Number 4.
let's go for it. So number 4, if you are looking to lose weight, then healthy fats are great. However, portion size really does matter. It really does. This is not the time to twin it.
Apparently, according to you, it's not the time to twin it all day.
Maybe not today. So let's just talk about healthy fats for a minute. We're talking about olive oil,
Nuts,
avocados,
seeds, nut butter.
hemp seeds. Those are really healthy fats for your body. So what you want to do though is, the portion size can easily get twinned, right? So let's just give you an example. Let's say this is a tablespoon. This is a tablespoon of, let's say, olive oil. Let's start with olive oil. So that's one serving if you look at the back of the label. That's 120 calories.
And think about when you pour olive oil, if you're cooking and just pour it into your pan, that 120 calories
If
can
you twin
suddenly,
it.
I mean, most people are more than twinning it. Most people,
I mean, they really are, but yeah, that was kind of funny.
so they're
Most
getting
people
more
are
than
really
240.
more than twinning it.
I mean, some people are pouring 500 calories at least into their cooking every day.
Instead of it being 120 calories, it's suddenly 240 calories just from 2 level tablespoons if you can stick to that, right? So that's pretty crazy. So that's and then let's talk about peanut butter,
right?
nut
So
butter,
a serving is 2 tablespoons.
It's 2 tablespoons. That's 190 calories. But let's say you decide to twin it. Then we're talking almost 400
calories. It doesn't even seem like that much.
No, and you
not that much peanut butter.
No, so it's really easy to do. So you really have to watch it. The same with avocados. I mean, one of the healthiest fats out there. It's so good for you in so many ways. But half of avocado is 120 calories. But if you decide to eat the whole thing, that's 240 calories. And then if you're having a whole meal. So these are places where you really want to start portioning out your fats, just so you can pay attention. Because when you start to do this, which we have all of our clients do, because this is one place where it unintentionally adds up with a healthy food, then you will immediately start getting more lean and more ripped up. So it'll be perfect for that beach body, which is amazing.
Okay, so we're going to review everything. Now we've covered all 4. And
let me just, geez, she's always overly antsy. Let's just say, what do we say with oil always?
measure it.
Yes, for sure. But something else. No, that wasn't a bad answer. It was a good try.
I don't know. We say a lot.
Yeah, we say a lot. But no, with oil, I mean, what do we do?
Oh, right. Well, we put it in a spritzer.
A spray bottle.
Spray bottle. So you put it in a
that's
spray
what I
bottle
was
and you
going
spray it.
for.
Because really disperses, and it's a fraction of the calories, but all of the flavor. We do it with our salad dressings. We do it with a lot of things. Those spray bottles work magic.
Coconut oil, yes. Yes, coconut oil, we love it.
Yeah, same in the spray bottle. Everything.
In the spray bottle, everything. It disperses the calories and you get all the flavor. So that was it. You knew it. I was just cracking up because
I wasn't reading your mind, but I did know it.
she sometimes can read my mind, but usually if I'm thinking of something like amazing, she doesn't read my mind.
Okay.
You just don't. Okay. Let's review immediately the 4 things you're going to do
either tonight or tomorrow to immediately get Beachbody ready or start on your way to get Beachbody ready. Okay. Number 1, at each meal you're going to have a half cup and no more than a half cup of wholesome carbohydrates.
Every single meal, do not skip.
Okay.
Do not skip. If you're just joining us, make sure you go back to the beginning of the video to make sure you understand why and how to eat these carbohydrates.
And remember, no refined.
Right.
No doughy.
And not skipping.
Okay. Number 2. Okay. 20 grams of protein at every meal. Every meal.
And so if you're plant-based, you have to pay extra attention to this because it's very easy to get a little beans in somewhere or get a little bit of tofu or even a little bit of healthy fat and forget about the protein. So don't let that happen to you. You'll end up overeating later because you'll be hungry and you might even crave something like a carbohydrate, or you might crave sugar, because protein makes you feel less hungry, and it satisfies you.
Satisfaction.
Right. So later, and it controls your blood sugar. So if you get a dip, who knows what you'll crave?
Number 3, anytime that you use sugar or artificial sweetener, replace it with cinnamon whenever you can.
And if you're looking for dessert, then that's the same situation. So anytime that you would have something sweet, instead use cinnamon to make naturally sweet food sweeter. So we're talking about add that cinnamon to the apple, roast it, add it to a pear, roast it, put it on berries, and it's going to lower inflammation and get rid of the weight that comes with inflammation, and it's going to control your blood sugar, and it's just going to train your taste buds to like healthier foods.
And like foods that are less sweet.
Amazing.
Naturally. Amazing.
And then number 4, you're going to portion your fats, because healthy fats are so good and so important for weight loss, but they really add up in calories. So if you're not careful, they can sabotage you. So those, my friends,
are the 4 things that you will do tomorrow to get that beach body.
Not even tomorrow.
Right.
Today. If you haven't had your last meal, you can start immediately. And you're going to do it, and you're going to let us know how you do, and you're going to
let us know if you have any questions.
And you're going to show us a picture of your beach body as soon as you can, because you're going to love your body even more than ever. And we can't wait for you guys to try these. So thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great rest of your evening.
Bye.
Bye.